And now we're going to turn to this, continuing coverage this afternoon. Senator Chandler Swope's challenge to the May 14th primary election results in the 6th District Senate race in Mingo County, West Virginia, has been dismissed. That challenge came after losing the Republican nomination to opponent Craig Hart, citing possible irregularities involving Democrats allowed to vote in the GOP primary. Hart won in Mingo County, 2,151 to 364, which changed the final tally in the primary to Hart winning 4,844 to Swope's 4,381. The challenge contended that the extraordinarily high Republican turnout in some precincts was the product of some registered Democrats voting in the Republican primary, and Swope wanted the results of those precincts excluded entirely, which would have changed the outcome of the election. But a proposed order of dismissal filed Monday with the Mingo County Commission by Swope's attorney, Danielle Waltz of Charleston, said that although numerous irregularities were found in some precincts during an investigation, the legal burden to exclude the totals from the precincts would be too high. The order of the dismissal said that after discussions with the Secretary of State's office, Swope agreed to forego his election challenge on the assurance that Mingo County poll workers would be better trained in primary election procedures. Hart will face Democrat Dave Sarton in the November 5th general election for the 6th District Senate seat. Now